Well, hello everyone. Okay, today I was inspired because I was doing something that I do on a regular basis that helps me reset and regulate my nervous system. A lot of us who have gone through traumatic experiences sometimes have difficulty regulating our nervous system and actually identifying when we need to step back and do something and remove ourselves from that reactive state and reset and regulate our nervous system. We are going to be diving into some of the things that I do on a regular basis that help me in this area tremendously. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Soul Wide Open podcast with your host, author, and certified trauma-informed coach Michelle Renee.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to Soul Wide Open with me, your host, Michelle Renee. Okay, so I was just doing something that I do on a regular basis. And a lot of you might go, oh my gosh, I just can't do that. But for me, this particular thing that I do is one of the key ways that I regulate and calm my nervous system. So today, and after every shower that I take, I end my shower with the shower turned as cold as it can possibly be. Sometimes in the winter, I don't do that. If I'm like on vacation in the mountains or I'm in the snow and it's freezing, I won't do that. But 9 times out of 10, I usually end my shower with a really cold, just standing there for about a minute and letting the cold water just run over my entire body. So, this is actually the same concept as what a lot of you have probably been seeing when people take their ice baths and do the ice plunges or they do cryotherapy. It is that cold sensation that comes over the body, that comes over your system, and actually slows everything down. Now, a lot of times people think I'm going to take a hot bath to relax at night, and I still do that because I like to soak in a bath of magnesium and Epsom salt. However, have you ever gotten out of a really hot bath and your heart is just racing and you feel a little bit dizzy because it was too hot? Well, your body is speeding everything up, trying to cool itself down. It is the opposite effect when you introduce your body to cold, and everything sort of slows down. So it makes sense that everything, including your nervous system, just calms down and comes down. And so for me, even to help myself sleep at night, I'll do this when I just go stand in a shower for a few minutes. I'll take ice baths here at home every once in a while. I'll just get a couple bags of ice and put it in my bathtub and just soak in an ice bath. And I try to get through like one whole song because, as all of you probably guessed by now, I'm really into music. So I'm like, okay, what song am I going to listen to and just make it through the song before I jump out of the ice cold bath? But for me, it is one of the number one ways that I really, really like to get myself into a state of my entire body feeling more calm. And there's so many other benefits to doing this too. It's really good for closing your pores. It's great for the skin. It's great for the hair follicles that close it up and capture the moisture. So, I mean, there's so many other reasons why, taking time to slow everything down and reset your nervous system in this way is just hugely beneficial. But there are a lot of other ways that we can reset our nervous system. And I think an even bigger issue related to kind of resetting our nervous system is, how do we recognize when we need to reset our nervous system? When do we need to remove ourselves from that reactive state? And a lot of times we don't even realize that certain behaviors that we're doing. I'll give you an example. I know that one of the things that is a bit of a warning sign for me is when I become hyper organized to the point where it's unhealthy. I'm already really organized, but for me, after the kidnapping and growing up in an environment that was very much out of control, I ended up adopting these very hyper controlling behaviors around things being perfectly straight, things being symmetrical, my Q-tips needing to be all perfect. I mean, things like that, like to the point where it was really getting to an obsessive compulsive place that was really unhealthy. And I really worked on this during therapy, and it is 10 times better than it used to be. And I still have those tendencies. And so I know when I start getting where I am in a state of upset, and I know that something is triggering my nervous system to just be completely out of whack, whether it's the way someone's treating me, whether it's something someone's saying, whether it's walking into an environment that's really chaotic. That is a huge, huge trigger for me because I don't do well with chaos. And I find myself just immediately starting to organize and clean and put things straight. And it is a coping mechanism for me, but I recognize that even though that is a coping mechanism for me, it is also a huge warning sign that my nervous system is off the Richter, that I need to take a step back and go remove myself from an environment that I'm in that is a reactive environment for me. And sometimes we stay in those reactive environments, and sometimes we kind of have to. Maybe it's our job, maybe it's, we're home and we can't sort of just pull ourselves away from that. But it's really important to recognize when that nervous system chaos is being activated and come up with a plan immediately. Like in 10 minutes, I'm going to go remove myself from this environment and I'm going to reset my nervous system. I'm going to regulate my nervous system. And for me, it's hugely important to do that, to make sure that I'm not remaining in a reactive environment, that the longer I stay in, the more I'm in that spin cycle of not feeling in control, and my body is reacting to that. That causes all kinds of stuff, inflammation, headaches, gut problems, you name it. When your nervous system is out of whack, there's so many other things that start to go crazy. There's so many things that happen to us, and all of us are different. There's no cookie cutter answer for this, but you have to be in touch with what your warning signs are and pay attention to what is going on, and how you're behaving and how you're reacting to certain stimuli that is creating this off the charts nervous system response, and figure out a way to remove yourself from that reactive environment. So the ice bath or the cold shower at the end of every shower is just one way that I regularly do this. Even if my nervous system doesn't feel out of whack at all, I do this all the time just as a preventative measure for my nervous system. Some other things that really, really work well for me, I think next in line for that, and maybe even above that, is routine. Routine for me is something that feels like safety. So much of the time when we are survivors of, things that were chaotic and felt unsafe and uncertain, when we can create an environment for ourselves that feels like that safe place, that feels like something certain, our nervous system will react positively to that. One of my favorite routines that I make sure, even when I'm traveling, I do this. I get up extra early so that I can take at least 30 minutes to just have tea and close my eyes and meditate almost every single morning. It is something that my body and my nervous systems knows is coming. It's a state of relaxation. It feels safe. It feels good. It's something that I really look forward to. So find a routine for you that gives you that sense of comfort and safety, and that's something that feels really good for you. There's a few other things that I do that are very routine oriented that make me feel the same way, and it has to do with exercise. One of the things that I've really learned helps me regulate and reset my nervous system is exercise. But I'm not really a gym person. I've tried that so many times, and I have wasted so much money trying to join gyms and getting in there. And I finally just said, I am going to live my most authentic life in every way. When I said that to myself a while back, I eventually got to the point where I said, that includes my exercise. I don't really feel comfortable in a gym, but I feel really, really comfortable in my backyard doing it's called the feet up exercise bench. I call it my yoga bench. And I got it and I started it during the pandemic because gyms were closed and hiking trails were closed, which I really, really love hiking and getting out in nature, which is another thing that helps me regulate my nervous system. But I do things in the privacy of my own home because I feel really comfortable doing that. I have a kettlebell and I have resistance bands and I have my exercise yoga bench that I use on a very, very regular basis. And I turn on the music that I like and I really, really enjoy it. And one of the things I really love about the exercise bench or the yoga bench is that it really revolves around flexibility and core and stretching and those things, especially the stretching and the inversion part of it, because you're basically doing a headstand on this bench doing these exercises. And it really, really helps with your circulation and blood flow and all these other things, core and balance and strength and flexibility and all of the things that are so important, especially at my age. I mean, I really wanted to find something that is going to work for me at my age and at this place where I am in my life right now. And it's okay if the gym doesn't work for you, but it's really important that you discover what does work for you, because exercise and moving your body and remaining flexible and remaining in that state of sort of feeling vital, that vitality is really, really key, not just for joy and happiness in your life, but really, really for helping you to regulate your nervous system and keep you in a state of calm and literally help you when you do get into those places that are something that's going to activate you in a reactive environment. These things are totally going to help you when you do get into those states, right? And that's really the key. Sometimes we can't prevent these triggers from happening or us getting all of a sudden, it's like without warning, it's like, uh-oh, I just was activated. My nervous system was just activated by something. It's really important that we recognize it as quickly as possible and remove ourselves from that as quickly as possible and bring ourselves back into a regulated state as soon as possible. So I just mentioned hiking. Hiking is another huge one for me. And it's not just the physical activity of hiking, it's the sounds, it's the scents, it's the fresh air, it's all of it. It's nature, it's all of it. Getting outside, breathing air, sunlight, all of the things that really help us to bring us this level of more calm in our life is critical to our nervous system. And even if you don't want to go on a hike, like for me, because I'm a kidnap and hostage survivor and was attacked the way that I was, hiking is tough for me alone. Like I need a buddy to go hiking with me because I'm out there on the trail and I'm in a bit of a hyper state of alertness when I'm hiking alone. And I know that about myself, and that's totally okay. And I've discovered that that is one thing for me that doesn't allow my nervous system to be in a complete state of calm. And for me to really enjoy hiking is when I go by myself, because that hyper state of alertness of whether or not somebody's going to come up behind me. I hear a noise over in the bushes. There's certain things that are still triggers for me, and I still have a little bit of that lingering PTSD, and that's okay. I know how to deal with it. I know how to get myself back to, this state of regulation. But I also know that there's a lot of wisdom in recognizing that that's not something that I want to put myself through, that is going to trigger me, and I can find a buddy and go hiking with and completely relax into it and enjoy myself. Why am I going to keep putting myself through trying to get out there and do this by myself like I have something to prove to anybody, which I don't? Can I do it? Yes, I can. I can get out there and do it. I have done it. But is it the same as going with somebody else and completely letting go of any and all attachment to hearing a noise and that being a trigger for me, and that my nervous system being just even slightly on edge while I'm out there. There's just no point in doing that. I have nothing to prove to anybody. And it's more fun when I go with somebody else anyway. I really enjoy it. So don't be hard on yourself. If you like to hike, but that's something that triggers you, that's a bit of a warning sign for you, and you're in that state of hyper alertness when you're out there doing something, find somebody else to go with. Don't keep trying to force yourself into doing it. And don't feel bad that this is still something that might cause you a slight bit of a reaction. It's be gentle and kind and loving, and give yourself some grace, and find a way to do that thing that you love that doesn't put you in that state of reactivity. Okay, this one is a big one for me. I used to be such, I guess, a fixer. I mean, I guess not even a fixer, but I was like the saver. I wanted to save everything and everyone, and I just wanted everybody to be happy. And I was saving dying plants, and I was trying hard, even with one little leaf on there or whatever it was. I was always doing that, including in my relationships. I used to stay in relationships that were absolutely the worst for my nervous system. I would be in a room with somebody, in a conversation with somebody, and just absolutely feel everything within my being going off. Every bell was going off, every red flag was going off. My nervous system was freaking out. My breathing was getting quicker. I could feel myself tensing up, my shoulders going up to my ears. And it's because I was putting this other person and their feelings and the relationship that I felt so loyal to because I'd been friends with them maybe for so long, I was putting all of that above my own well being. When I began to recognize that certain relationships were causing me to literally have negative physical reactions, I really began to understand the importance of having boundaries around my time, around relationships. You can still love people and have really good, strong boundaries around those relationships. I know how to speak up for myself and say, this is something that is causing me to feel really uncomfortable. I cannot engage in this conversation any longer. I'm going to I'm going to go. Whatever it is that you need to say in a very loving, respectful, most importantly, self-respecting way, that you need to remove yourself again from a situation or an environment that is causing your nervous system to react in a really negative way. It is okay for you to get up and say, I can't stay in this any longer. This is unhealthy for me. This doesn't work for me. And I've gotten really clear about that in my life. And that's a big one for me because I would have never, even 5 years ago, thought about saying to anybody, hey, this is causing me to feel really uncomfortable. I'm going to excuse myself from the conversation. Today, I feel so empowered by that. I feel that I have progressed to a point in my healing and in my own journey of self-discovery that I matter, and that my nervous system and how I'm feeling and how certain situations are affecting me really matter. And it's my responsibility. It's not anybody else's responsibility to recognize that and to take action to remove myself from that and to protect my nervous system and my mental health and my spiritual, emotional wellness. It is my responsibility to protect that. And so that's a really, really big one too. So the relationships and conversations that you're in and the rooms you put yourself in and the people that you hang out with, is it causing your nervous system to go haywire? Because you're falling back into old patterns when you're with these people, or they're talking about things that are triggering you, or it's just an environment that makes you uncomfortable, or you've outgrown that person and you're sitting there wondering what the heck you're doing there and it's causing you anxiety, whatever it might be. Stay in tune with yourself and really commit to taking the actions that you need to take to remove yourself from those situations and protect your nervous system, protect your spiritual and your mental and emotional well-being. You will be so amazed what this one aspect of your life that you commit to, how this will change for you, how you will begin to feel this sense of empowerment and self-discovery and confidence and self-love. It's truly one of the best things that I've really tapped into in the past several years that have just helped me tremendously. Okay, 3 more. This is a fun one. Do what you love. Okay, it sounds simple and it sounds cliche. I get that. But how many people don't just do the things that they love? Life gets in the way and they get busy and, oh, I don't have time and maybe I'll do that next week, and next week turns into next month. Next month turns into next year, and the next thing you know, you've gone 3 years without going to the movies, and you love going to the theater and spoiling yourself at a Sinopolis luxury experience where you're sitting there enjoying a movie and somebody's bringing you popcorn and a drink and you're just loving it. The other day for Mother's Day, we went miniature golfing and I went to the batting cages. And when my daughter asked me what I wanted to do for Mother's Day, sure, I would have loved to have gone and gotten a massage, but we get massages on a regular basis, which is another thing I do to regulate my nervous system. Getting massages is huge, huge part of it. Relaxing, allowing yourself to go and just relax and work out all of that stress in the body, get massages. But guess what? I said for Mother's Day, I want to go to the batting cages. I used to play softball. I love softball. I want to go smack some softballs and play miniature golf and go to lunch. Like those types of things that you love to do or loved to do when you were a kid. Go do those things. Joy will help you regulate and reset your nervous system like nothing else will. What brings you joy? Do that. What is your soul craving? What is your soul telling you to go do? Do that. What is something that just makes you laugh, that just fills you up and makes you feel so happy? Do that. Do more of that. If you're doing it right now once a year, do it once a month. If you're doing it once a month, try doing it once a week. It could be gardening. It could be riding a bike. It could be roller skating. It could be so many different things. Whatever that thing is for you, do yourself the biggest favor and do more of that. Okay, 2 more. Okay, we've all heard the reports on how important it is to get a really good night's sleep. And a really good night's sleep for me used to not come very often at all. And I am more creative at night. So I'm one of those night owls that stay up at night and I'm really creative and I go to bed at 2 and I wake up at 8, or whatever it is. I have an off sleep schedule. But what I have discovered that really, really helps me with sleep, which also helps with our nervous system regulation, is what I do at least 1 to 2 hours before I go to bed. There is no crime shows. There are no music that is going to trigger me or feel angry or like disco upbeat or anything like that. What you listen to and what you watch or what you read before you go to bed, that state of being that you are in before you lay down to go to sleep, is really, really important. Watch something that is inspiring. Listen to something that is positive messaging. Read something that's really positive messaging as the last thing that you hear or see before you lay down to go to bed. It has helped me tremendously, and it is proven to be really, really good and crucial to have these healthy sleep patterns that really are beneficial for your nervous system. And this is the last thing before we sign off. And this also has to do with sleep. One of the number one things I love to do in the evening is stretch. This is a routine. It goes back to the first thing I mentioned. It is routine. I routinely stretch at the end of almost every single day. I'll stretch my arms. I have different stretches that I do for my chest. I have the wall Pilates that I do that are very much the ones that I do in the evening are very much related to just stretching out the body, stretching out the back, the neck, the legs, the arms, your torso, your abdomen, everything. Before you turn in to go to bed, make sure that you have this really healthy routine that is stretching that body out, that is all of that stress from the day that we all have to deal with. One of the best ways to kind of alleviate all of that stress is just put on some really nice music and just spend 15 minutes just stretching your body out and taking really, really, really deep breaths and getting yourself in a state of relaxation before you even hit that pillow. I just want to reiterate, be really self aware when you're in those environments, when you're being activated, when that nervous system is being activated. It's really important for you to recognize when you need to step back, remove yourself, and go reset and regulate your nervous system. If you have any questions about this, send me a DM on Instagram. I'm happy to chat with you about this. I've really gotten into a great pattern of resetting and really taking good care of my nervous system every single day. With certain routines throughout the day. And I'm happy to talk to anybody who's struggling with this because I know how important it is. And I actually know how hard it is too. And if you need any help at all, please let me know. And I would love to hear what your routines are. How do you reset your nervous system? How do you regulate your nervous system and get yourself back into a state of calm? I would love to hear about it. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate all the love I've been getting about the show. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.